In this episode of Adulting is Easy and Other Lies, we talk about finding joy when life doesn't go the way you planned. If you've ever felt like you're just trying to keep up or figure things out as you go, you are not alone. This is your reminder that the highlight reel isn't the whole story. After a 9-year infertility journey, leaving a high-demand religion, and rebuilding her marriage and identity from the ground up, Kaitlyn shares what it looks like to grieve the life you expected while learning to embrace the one you're living in. This conversation is about mindset shifts, resilience, and learning to find meaning in the and. All right, everybody, welcome back to Adulting is Easy and Other Lies. Thank you for joining in. Today's guest is Kaitlyn. Kaitlyn is co-host of the podcast Here in the End. She joins us to share her journey through 9 years of infertility, navigating grief of a life that didn't unfold the way that she expected, leaving a high-demand religion, and rebuilding both her identity and her marriage along the way. We talk about learning to hold joy and sorrow at the same time, what it means to live in the and how sometimes the most meaningful growth happens when life forces us to rewrite the story we thought we were living. So welcome, Kaitlyn.
Thank you.
So just a little bit of an icebreaker before we get into the deeper stuff. I'm going to tell me a little bit about yourself. Who is Kaitlyn today?
Ooh, okay. So Kaitlyn today is a dog person, which was not the case years ago. Yes, I have 2 little dogs. I have a French Bulldog and a Chihuahua. They're my babies. They are the center of my world, honestly. So everything revolves around them. What else? Talking about myself, like just the fun stuff is I find the hardest.
Yes. The normal stuff.
Yes. I'm also a Swiftie, so this is a very fun thing for us. Right?
Yes.
We can talk about Taylor Swift. This is great.
Anything that I can relate back to Taylor Swift is a win in my book.
Yes, amazing. What else would you like to know?
How would your friends describe you?
I'm typically very soft-spoken. I love a good craft night. So we'll do some like girls' nights where we do a craft and have a fun little drink. That's always a good time. Yes. Yeah.
I love doing crafts, and that sounds right up my alley. So you and your husband started a podcast called Here in the End.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell me a little bit more about what that title means to you?
For sure. So Here in the End, to me, means learning to live in the now and acknowledging the hard and the grief that everybody goes through. It has their own journey of grief and things that they're working through, while still learning to enjoy what's happening right now. So I think our society is so focused on a checklist lifestyle, where we just are told to do these things in this order typically, and when life doesn't go that way, I find we're like, what the heck, what are we supposed to do now? Because we can't check off this box, how are we supposed to move on to the next? So it's learning to accept what's happening right now, learning to find the joy in right now, while still very much acknowledging there's some hard things that are happening in my life, and not turning this into a toxic positivity moment of just learning to go, this is hard, but I do have this beautiful thing that's happening as well, but I'm also allowed to feel pain.
That's such a really amazing way to put it, that it's okay to have, or as Taylor would say, 2 things can be true.
Yes, exactly.
I really like that, because just because you're going through difficult things and there's things that aren't working out the way that you had mapped them out to be, doesn't mean that you can't find joy in the things that are occurring.
Exactly.
I really, really, really like that. Was there a specific moment where you realized that you couldn't keep living in the I'll be happy when mindset?
Yes. Specific, maybe not, but kind of just like an era of my life.
Okay.
So I would say it was about 2 to 3 years ago. where there was just kind of a switch. We made a lot of changes in our life, one of them leaving a high demand religion. That's when my husband and I kind of addressed the elephant in the room of what we kind of wanted with our life. And then we also did a move from living downtown to now living in the suburbs. So there was lots of changes in like just like 4 months. And in that conversation that my husband and I had, we kind of almost subconsciously, we both, specific, maybe not, but kind of just like an era of my life.
Okay.
So I would say it was about 2 to 3 years ago, where there was just kind of a switch. We made a lot of changes in our life, one of them leaving a high demand religion. That's when my husband and I kind of addressed the elephant in the room of what we kind of wanted with our life. And then we also did a move from living downtown to now living in the suburbs. So there was lots of changes in like just like 4 months. And in that conversation that my husband and I had, we kind of almost subconsciously, we both understood that we needed to live a little bit different and to start to just enjoy what we have right now, instead of just constantly wanting and waiting for something else to happen that we think is going to bring us joy.
Which is really, really difficult concept, because I think that we are conditioned to always be waiting for the next best thing.
Yes.
So it's really hard to just look at what you've got and say, you know what, this is what we want. Let's eliminate this hard part and move forward with this part.
Exactly.
What does the "and" mean in your daily life?
In mine personally?
Yeah.
So it is, for me, very much dealing with a 9-year infertility journey. And being okay with that's possibly not ever going to happen for us. We may never have children. That is the reality at this point. We may have children. It's learning to just be okay with that possibly not happening, and then the "and" being building this life of travel, of kind of putting that I guess caregiver that you title that you would have with children towards my dogs, and then learning to build a life with my husband and I that we've never seen before. We've never seen 30-year-olds without children. That's just not something we were surrounded by growing up, and so it's this "and" is very unknown to us, but we're kind of just learning it day by day and just pulling out the pieces that are really beautiful and joyful and focusing on those and just trying to build this life that we really don't know what it looks like, but we're okay with that.
Aww. I love that you guys are doing this like as a pair, as a partnership, and it's not a divisive thing.
Yes, I recognize that I'm so lucky to have a husband who's equally on the same page as I am, and him as well, to have a partner that's wanting to do this together. We recognize that is kind of
Rare.
Yeah, it doesn't happen, and we're very, very lucky.
So what do you think people misunderstand about finding the joy during these difficult seasons like this? I think that infertility is something that a lot of people don't understand. If you haven't had it personally affect your life in some way, either in your person or somebody very close to you, it's not usually even a topic that floats in conversation with many people. So I think that it's something super misunderstood, but to be able to find joy in that, I think that some people will look at it and almost feel like it's a contradiction, right? Like you're so miserable about this, but how can you be so happy? So I'm just curious what you think people misunderstand about finding joy during those difficult times.
I think the misunderstanding is if you focus on the joy, then you're like almost shoving the grief under the rug and not dealing with that, and that you can only feel one or the other. I think that's the misunderstanding. That was mine, at least.
Well, and I think too, like, I don't know about you growing up, but when you were growing up as a child and learning about emotions and things like that, Do you almost feel like it was kind of taught to you that you were only feeling one emotion at a time?
Probably.
Like you're not frustrated and angry and upset. Like you can't put more than one emotion into a box together at the same time almost.
Probably. That I would say that's probably very relatable.
Because I think for me personally, I know that growing up, I don't remember why we just didn't talk about emotions.
Yeah, that's fair.
We just didn't. But also there wasn't a two things can be true situation for us growing up. So I think that's really hard for a lot of people to grasp.
Yes, I think we just haven't been taught it. And so then that goes back generations.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and then you're just working with what you know. Was accepting the and part something that happened gradually, or was it like kind of one day light bulb woke up and this is where you were at?
It is an everyday accepting of it. So I've accepted it to a point.
Yeah.
Right? But that's constantly growing. I'm not fully there yet. And I don't know if I ever will be fully there.
I think that with grief, that's something that is also misunderstood. People think that you grieve for a period and then it just goes away and that ends. I think that until you've experienced deep grief, it's really hard to comprehend that feeling doesn't really ever go away.
No.
You just learn to work around it.
Yes.
Do you think that we're taught happiness and grief as are opposites when really they can coexist?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I feel a lot of the time, like I mentioned earlier, if we're focusing on the joy when we're going through something so horrible, a lot of times we're thrown toxic positivity statements towards us, right? Like that's a huge thing that I experienced through infertility, where people are just like, but it'll happen, you're young, it'll happen. And those are such damaging.
It's not helpful.
And not at all. And doesn't help you work through the feelings that you're feeling or help you find any joy. You're just kind of stuck in this weird spot of, but I guess I'll be happy at some point.
Yeah, and others are saying I should be happy, so I should be happy, and and then just feeling completely not heard.
Yes, exactly.
So we've been talking a little bit about the infertility that you've experienced and how that's a big part of your story. What would you want someone who's never experienced infertility to understand about that? Maybe if you're comfortable, share a little bit about your journey, and then we can kind of get into that.
Absolutely. So my husband and I started trying to start a family 2 years into being married. We got married very young, at 21 and 23. That is pretty standard for the religion that we grew up in.
We'll get into that.
Yes. And really, actually, that was quite old for me as a woman to be getting married. A lot of my friends were married at 19. And so I felt like I was like very mature, very old to be getting married at 21. And it's interesting looking back on that, going, wow, I was a baby. I knew nothing.
No.
Thank goodness I chose who I did. Like, crazy. So we started trying 2 years into our marriage. I am the oldest of 4 children.
Okay.
And there were situations in my childhood where I was very much put into a motherly role to look after my siblings. My grandparents were sick at a very young age for them and a very young age for me. And so I kind of took on looking after my siblings while my mom was caring for her parents.
That's a lot.
So my grandma passed away from cancer when she was in her early 50s. And so my mom was like late 20s when that happened. And then a year after that, her dad had a stroke. He's an Ironman triathlete. He had a stroke and she became like his caregiver.
That is a lot to take on. And then for you.
And then for me as the oldest, I found myself just kind of filling that role of looking after my siblings, caring for them. We had to travel. My grandparents were in BC. We were in Calgary, so we would have to travel for a couple weeks out of each month so that my mom could care for her dad, and then we would come back here. So there was a lot of ups and downs with that, and then taking on that role of caring for children at such a young age was a lot.
A lot of my guests I've talked to have had situations where they were parentified at a young age because of something to do, either illness or addiction, a lot of them.
Yeah. Yes.
So
It's a very interesting role to take on. And then moving into getting married so young, I remember having a conversation with my husband where I was like, I don't want children right away. I want like just a couple years to just kind of live life and not have to look after somebody.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a lot of guilt that came with that when finding out we had unexplained infertility 2 years in. So we obviously tried for a year, went to the fertility specialist.
Yeah.
Was like, this isn't working. This is, I guess, what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to see a fertility specialist and go from there. We had 1 million tests done. He had 1 million tests done. And everything just kind of, it was just determined that we had unexplained infertility. Everything was normal and they couldn't tell us what was happening.
Most frustrating thing ever is when there's not an answer for why.
Exactly. So they wanted to jump right into IVF. I said, let's pause for just a second. If we don't know what's going on and we don't have an answer for why we can't get pregnant right now, how are we so confident that IVF is going to work?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and that's like what, $20,000 around?
Yes. And so I'm like, is there other things that we can tackle first to just see if there's maybe like we're depleted in some nutrient or mineral or vitamin or something that's like needed to just, like, what if a pregnancy wouldn't stick for me? What if my husband's low in something? Like,
they didn't test any of that before they wanted to jump you to.
But everything was normal.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I was like, what? They didn't test that stuff before they want to do it IVF?
No, they did, but everything was normal. So I just didn't feel very confident. I felt very much like a number that was just kind of being pushed through a system. And so I just said, let's pause. Let's look at some other avenues. And so we jumped into the more like naturopathic, natural medicine route, just to see if they had a different perspective.
Everything's worth a shot when you're trying, right?
Exactly. And $100 here, $200 here seemed a little bit easier than just dropping $20,000 right off the get-go.
Well, and then you got to add into all the procedures that go along with IVF that are going to cause you upheaval in your life.
Exactly.
Physically.
Right. So we jumped into the natural medicine side, and then we're doing that for a few years, and then we didn't realize how much it was going to take from us emotionally and physically, but more emotionally, where we got to a point where it was just decision fatigue. We were experiencing severely, and just I felt like a shell of a human, and we just felt like we were just going through the motions.
Well, and it takes the emotion out of things too, where your level of intimacy feels a lot lower, because now everything that you do to try to achieve that goal now feels like a medical procedure, not being intimate with your husband.
Yes. And that's huge on our relationship.
Huge toll.
Yeah.
The truth behind the highlight reel of adulthood. Messy, honest, and human.
And this is I know this is going to kind of tie into the religion, which we'll get deeper into, but how did your infertility, how do you feel like it impacted your identity? Because I know that you came from a faith that you're married young, it's dependent on family, that's what it's about. It's about building a family to be closer to God, right?
Yes.
I think it's the premise.
Basically.
So when that's your identity and that's what you've grown up and this is what you're made to do, how did that affect your identity?
Yes, huge. So, like I said, I became a shell of a human because there was so much pressure placed on having children.
Yeah.
And the term that I will just probably continuously say is that I was taught was multiply and replenish the earth, which was what was just kind of like taught to us as children. Throughout my youth years within this religion, it was very much just taught to us that us as women, our sole responsibility is to multiply and replenish the earth, have children, be a mother. That's the highest calling that you can have in this lifetime.
And answer to the head of the household.
Yes, yes. So when that didn't happen for me, I felt like there was something severely wrong with me. Where have I sinned? Am I not worthy enough to God in order to have children? Am I being punished? And full disclosure, I was followed rules to a T as a child. Did everything I was told to do. I did not sway. I didn't want to become difficult for my parents or become difficult within the religion, because these were the things that you were supposed to do. And there was a lot of fear tactic placed into that with religion.
Fear tactics.
Yes. And so then there was a lot of questions that I had where I was like, but I followed all the rules. I did all of the things. I got married in the temple. I did not have sex before marriage. Like, you have to wear garments. I did all the things, right? I was very, very religious through high school, like where I would go to my seminary classes, which is like a Bible study.
Yeah.
You're required to go to. I did all the things. So then as an adult, finding out that I can't have children, going, but this is what I'm supposed to do as a woman.
Yeah. What now?
Like I chose a career that was very just like backseat to my husband's, where it was like only if we would need it. It wasn't anything, like it was just a certificate program. Nothing that would be, the main source of income. Because that would be my husband's role. My role would be to stay home with children.
Your whole life was shaped around that.
Yes.
So it literally changed everything.
Everything, yes. So it was very difficult while we were still attending to go to church every Sunday and to hear the comments of like, as a woman, your most important role is to have children. And then to constantly be told that just through messages that were being given. And then what we have in that religion is what are called callings. And so they are like volunteer positions.
Okay.
That you kind of like the ward, which is the congregation, just kind of jump in and they like teach children or teach the youth or teach the adult Sunday school classes, or there's like activities that happen throughout the week and then you could be in charge of that. So you're given a calling that's called from God, and that it's inspiration that the bishopric, so the head of the church, the ward,
Okay.
have revelation that you would be a good fit for this role. So it's put out as it's called from God. And I kept getting called into primary, which is 4 to 11-year-olds. So I kept getting called into these positions where I was teaching children.
So just salt in the wound.
Absolutely. And I just kept going, okay, well, it's from God. I guess this is just what's required. And maybe this is my way of having children in my life. That's what I tried to tell myself for many years. And it got to a point where I remember being called into that position again and being told by one of the men who were in charge of the ward that this would be really good for you because you don't have children and you need to have children in your life. So that just killed. Like, that hurt so much because I was like, I'm trying to have kids. I'm doing all the things and I can't.
That, oh my God, like I don't even know what to say to that. That just feels like a gross abuse of power in the church to just be shitting on women like that, but also just really dense, like like no awareness of what's happening in their, do they call it a congregation?
Yes.
Within their ward or whatever, like just, you would think that the person that's in the position of authority or overseeing would be the person that should know the big things that are going on within the partisans of their community.
They were made aware of that. That was something that was mentioned, that we were struggling. Can you pray for us? Is there, like, I needed to go to therapy at some point to just kind of talk with the counselor about it. So there's options to do that through the church, where there's therapists through the church. So that was arranged for me. So they were made aware.
Are they therapists or therapists?
They were actually like.
Oh, they were. Okay.
Yes. They were just like hired by the church. Typically members of the church as well. And those sessions were very helpful.
Well, that's good.
But it was just really, really sad to see the lack of support in that, and feeling in not being able to have children, and feeling like there was something that I was doing wrong.
Yeah, and just no empathy in general to
Yes.
take and throw you in with the kids instead of
Yes.
giving you a different task that you could be doing that maybe wouldn't be so
Yeah.
hard and heavy on your heart.
Exactly. So that was a really difficult part of the early years of infertility.
So how, I don't know how to say this. So with dealing with that, in amongst that, how did you deal with things like holidays where you're with your family, or baby announcements, or social gatherings, or like your friends doing the things that you want to be like how did that affect you?
So it's shifted a lot over the years.
Yeah.
As being the oldest in my family, there was no like nieces or nephews that I was surrounded by.
Okay, so that's a little easier.
That was helpful for the first few years. My sister does now have 2 children, so I'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But my husband is the youngest of 5 children, and so there's very different family dynamics. Very different family dynamics, and so I kind of how I dealt with that, which is very Kaitlyn coded, where I just kind of would remove the emotion from it. So I didn't build a relationship with those nieces and nephews on his side. Because I just was like, okay, we can have a surface level relationship because my emotions can't handle it.
Oh, that's so tough.
Honestly.
It's so
but
tough.
Like survival mode is awful.
Because inside you're like probably just dying wanting to have like
Yes.
this amazing relationship with these little
Yes.
humans, but like you're trying to, for a little self-preservation.
Yes.
Wow.
And then pregnancy announcements and baby showers and those types of things, it was quite difficult when my friends were having children.
Did any of them have enough empathy to come to you first and give you a heads up, or was it always just a blind side?
You know what, I have one friend and she's very, very sweet about it. We got married the same year and they have 4 girls. And every pregnancy announcement that she had, like once I kind of found out that I was struggling, she was very sweet about it. She'd tell me privately and give me kind of a heads up. So
I have a lot of respect for that.
That was really beautiful. And she's been very, very supportive and very empathetic through it. Maybe that's the wrong word. Sympathetic is probably a better word. Where she just asks me how I'm doing and is very aware of my emotions, which is a sad thing at the same time because I want to be excited for my friends.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to feel, oh, I'm pregnant. How am I going to tell Kaitlyn? I
Yeah.
don't want those to be their thoughts.
Well,
but it is.
And also not feeling like they can't share their joy with you and have you share in that joy because they're worried that it's going to hurt you or trigger your own traumas.
Exactly.
Was there anything in particular that's helped or hurt that you like just 100% know are triggers for you or great things for you that people did to try and offer support to you?
Yeah. Yes, some triggers that I have that I just find not helpful or they bring up a lot of emotions are when the first reaction is, how can I fix this for you? And so they're offering unsolicited advice. That's the hardest part, and I find that I receive that quite frequently and did in the early years. That was kind of how people, I think, felt they needed to help, which it's not necessarily their fault when, as a society, we're kind of just taught to solve someone's problem when they present it to us.
Yeah.
Right? We're not necessarily taught
to just listen.
Listen and go, what do you need? Or try and like get to know that person enough to know what they would need or things that would maybe be of comfort to them. And so that's been difficult when those are typically the things that I'm faced with for support, when close family members probably feel like they have been supportive, and that's been their way of support, which has been kind of the opposite.
Yeah, 100% the opposite. And super triggering because then it makes you feel like they just either are not believing what you're saying fully, or they just are completely clueless and cannot pick up a freaking Google tool and do a little of their own damn research to see where you're sitting.
Exactly. Exactly. Some of the beautiful things that have come from it is I have had people say really beautiful things. If I know this day might be hard for you, maybe on Mother's Day, I'm thinking about you, but you are a really excellent dog mom, or like things like that, where they have kind of addressed the hard, and that's been very healing and helpful, is you feeling seen as any human.
A little acknowledgement, and then that's all. Like, you then just leave the door open.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, I have a bit of my own ignorance, because I've always kind of had this mentality that people calling themselves dog parents or cat parents, like, oh, it's not the same. Like, you can't compare the two, and which is true. It's very different.
It's different.
But that being said, I lost my dog last month suddenly and unexpectedly, and it wiped me out. And instantly I was like, oh, I am such an asshole. Because I definitely did not have the empathy for a dog parent, or, you know, like, just even the respect for that level of care until I lost my dog and was like, oh, this is brutal.
Do you know what? Life does that to us, where I feel like, have to sometimes learn a really, really hard way, and then you realize, you're like, well, I said some pretty terrible things before, and I regret that. And that's my experience with infertility.
Yeah.
The first 2 years, I was like, why are people getting pregnant so quickly? Like, why are they not waiting? Or just like, if someone did complain about like not being able to get pregnant, it'll happen. Like, why are you, like, very, very harsh.
Yeah, stop trying and it'll just happen.
Like, I had the same thing. And so I feel like karma's real, and it'll get you sometimes. And so, yeah, sometimes I think we're just throwing those things.
Yeah. I completely agree. I completely agree with that, because I'll tell you, it was a rude awakening for me to be like, oh my God, you have been such a mean cow to people about this. So I do have a lot of respect and empathy for going through that and having to carry yourself in such a dark tunnel, really.
And honestly, my French bulldog Willow we have a very, very close bond, and like I said, I was not a dog person before, and I didn't understand when people said like dogs are just a part of the family. I didn't understand that. I was like, they're an animal.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Like, you can leave them home alone.
Yeah, like, this is very, very different. But when we got Willow, it was in like year 2 of our infertility journey, and she's kind of what pulled me out of that dark hole a lot of days. Aww. She was the reason why I needed to get up in the morning and go feed her and
give yourself a purpose.
Walk, right? And we have a very close bond, and I didn't understand that before until I got her, and she's my baby girl. I'm gonna cry about it, but she's my baby girl. And so I had the same kind of sentiment towards the title dog mom before and dog parents before.
Yeah.
And what I've kind of learned over this journey is sometimes that's the only form of parenthood that some people might experience.
Totally.
Right? And it's very different, but it's their way of experiencing caring for a little soul.
Yep.
And bringing joy to this little soul's life.
Totally. Just curious, what would you say, what version of yourself did the infertility force you to become?
I think very, very soft and kind-hearted. It kind of pulled that side out of me. Where I feel like I'm very aware of how a situation could affect somebody. And I don't know if I was that aware before.
Okay, so kind of opened up your awareness of...
Yeah, like, it's almost
how things impact others.
An extreme version of an empath. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, where I've always been an empath. That's just like something that's always been who I am. But there's almost this like extra level of awareness if that's going to make someone uncomfortable.
So you're hyper aware of possible triggers to others now.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when you've lived through such a harrowing situation. I think that people tend to go hard one way or the other, right? You either become super, super empathetic, like almost hyper aware of emotions around you, or you become numb.
Yes. And I was numb for a bit.
Yeah, I think that is your body's defense
Mhm.
mechanism against chaos, though, right? I think that when our bodies are struggling with the fight or flight of a situation,
Mhm.
that especially women,
That's just the easiest
they
way
just
for us.
numb. They numb out
Yes.
and then deal with the situation at hand, and then move forward.
Yes.
But when you come out of that numbness,
Yes.
it feels like a friggin' glacier melting.
Oh my gosh. Like, whoa, there's a lot of emotions that I've just been hanging on to here.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I want to kind of move through your marriage and kind of the hard seasons. So you talked a little bit about rebuilding your relationship
Mm-hmm.
with all that you guys have gone through. I'd love to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Do you and your husband process your grief differently?
Very different.
Very differently.
Yeah.
So
So I process my grief very openly with him, not openly with other people.
okay.
Okay? So when something comes my way and I'm like, how am I going to deal with this? I need to talk about it. I'm a words person. So I'm like, I need to talk about this verbally just to process it. Maybe yell about it. Yeah, maybe that's why a podcast is so helpful. Where he internalizes everything.
Okay.
So a lot of years, I didn't know if he was affected emotionally by our infertility journey. I was like, I don't see any emotion from you. Does this make you sad?
Does this even bother you?
Yeah. Are you okay to not have kids? Like, where are you at? Like, I don't know. And so that was difficult, and we did not have very strong communication skills.
Okay.
And I think that comes from getting married so young.
Totally.
Right? And both of us growing up didn't have the greatest example of communication skills either.
Do you think part of that is just the religion and the layout of how men and women in relationships are portrayed within the religion?
Maybe. I also think like previous generations didn't have that example either.
No.
Right? So like in or out of a religion, I think just society wise, like if we think of like a few generations ago, like nobody talked about their emotions.
No.
Right?
Mental health didn't exist.
Mental health did not exist. So it's been a learning curve for each generation, and there's been, I think, improvements as the generations have gone on. But I think with where we're at right now, we talk about it. Mental health awareness there's been a huge spike in that, right?
I think COVID too was also like a big trigger for that.
Yes.
Like we were stuck inside, so all you could do is see podcasts and TV and shows and things. You could plug anything into people's faces at that point.
Exactly. So I don't know if I don't really would blame religion for that at all. I think it's just a traditional marriage that's just like hasn't learned those communication skills, right?
Yeah.
And my husband has his own story, but his dad passed away when he was quite young, and was sick for most of his growing up years.
Oh, jeez.
And so there was so much more that his parents were focusing on, right?
And then the man that's supposed to be teaching him how to be a man isn't able to do that and fulfill that role.
Did not have a great example of that either. And so, us getting married so young, we were just navigating early 20s, and then being married on top of that.
And freedom that brought you in your life.
Exactly. And then learning how to like build communication was just not something either one of us were thinking about. So when we were a few years into infertility, I think I started to notice and question like whether my husband was emotionally invested in this journey, like if it affected him at all. And then it probably was, I'm trying to do like the math. It was probably like 6 or 7 years in that we actually had a conversation about like kind of our beliefs, how we're feeling about infertility, like had those hard conversations about where each other
was at.
So before that, we were just kind of like living with this big elephant in the room of like, we can't get pregnant and don't really know why, and we were just going to appointments, but we never had an emotional conversation about it.
Okay.
Honestly, where we were just like stuck in the motions.
Yeah.
Because we left that first appointment, and interesting how like our podcast has offered us to like see the other person's brain a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas after that first appointment, I just felt like, okay, what's the next step? And my husband was like, what is happening? I don't even understand it.
Oh, so he almost needed like a debrief and kind of
and I didn't
translation
understand it either, but I just immediately was like, how can I fix this? And so then I just went into like researching different treatments.
That's the eldest daughter.
I was like, we don't have time to feel emotions. We're just
We
gonna
fix
fix
things.
It. Yes, exactly. And he was just like kind of blindsided and didn't know what was happening. Right?
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
I think there was just that disconnect.
Yeah.
And then we just started doing all the things. And then we're like, interesting.
Do you think that that's like the most disconnect that you felt within the marriage, was like going through that and then realizing that you hadn't been having the conversations even though you kind of thought you had?
Yes, and the way infertility is viewed at medically, it's very much put on the woman,
Yes.
right? And there's not a lot placed on the man. And so I felt a little bit of resentment where I was like, can we not dive deeper into like maybe my husband? Because we're diving pretty deep into me here. Like
literally and figuratively.
Yes. Like we're really trying to figure out a lot of things with me. Can we do the same for my husband?
Yeah.
Because like what if he needs something too? Like
yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Two to tango.
That is what I've been saying this whole time. I'm like, without him, we couldn't make a baby. So why are we not looking at him as well?
Yeah, look at the whole picture. I think that's where a lot of people who have had children or who have never dealt with a fertility situation don't really grasp the concept of just how deep the pain runs and how much it affects every aspect of your life and every facet.
Yes, that's a very good point to touch on, that it is not just a once a month you find out you're not pregnant. It is an everyday occurrence.
100%.
There is something that reminds you, there is something that you read, there is something that an appointment you go to. Like, it could be the simplest things of literally walking down the street and seeing a child walking a dog.
Yeah.
And going, that could be my child.
Yeah.
Right? Like it and you don't know when those triggers are going to happen or reminders are going to happen, and you don't know what that emotion is going to bring that day. It's a bit of a roller coaster. Because there's some days where I feel nothing, where I can like make a joke about us not having kids and it's fine. But there's other days where like it feels very debilitating to just like see a child.
Yeah. I can completely understand just how it's almost like a knife to the gut at times, whereas other times you can see them and just be like, this is nice, I get to play this role and I can go home and I don't have to, do the nighttime feedings and diapers or whatever.
Exactly.
Like there's certain times where you can almost romanticize the thought of not, but then there's other times where you just can't.
And it's very blindsiding.
Yes.
Where you're not prepared for when that's going to take over, or those emotions are going to come up. And I've gotten very good at trying not to feel anything that has to do with infertility, which is also really sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it almost probably feels like you're letting go of a piece of you, something that's been there your whole life in your body. Like, this is the plan, right?
Exactly.
What do you think were the hardest conversations that you had to have with your husband?
I think in the beginning we were very unaware of what the journey was going to bring and how many years it was going to be. Like, I didn't think I'd be here 9 years later having this conversation, right? Like, I thought, okay, it'll happen. And I don't know if we've had very hard conversations, but I think the realization together of we're kind of living in Groundhog Day, where it's just our life keeps going on but nothing's really changing in our relationship. Like, we've definitely improved our relationship, and we have a very, very strong relationship, and I'm very grateful for that. And this infertility journey has been a huge part of that, because it's kind of forced us to come together.
Could have done the opposite though.
Could have done the opposite. Absolutely. And so I feel very blessed to have that opportunity to have built that relationship with him. But I think that the hardest thing for us has been just planning in the future, like for the future.
Yeah.
And coming to terms with that it might just be us.
Do you think that you guys like appreciate and respect and love each other on a deeper level, having gone through all of that though?
Absolutely.
Like a little more understanding?
Yes, because I have seen him in his like lowest lows because of this, and nobody else would notice that because he internalizes everything, right? So I see him when he interacts with a baby, like I can just see like a little like twinkle in his eye, or just like have that sense of like this kind of breaks him too, right? Whereas he's seen it very outwardly with me, where I've very much shown my emotions, where have like very emotional reactions to things, or I'm experiencing the negative pregnancy test and have to tell him, or he feels like he has to console me, right? So I feel like those, when you see somebody in such a low state, and you like truly do love them, I think that does initially strengthen your relationship.
Oh, totally. And when you can then also see that this is something that does impact him, and you can see that he is, even if he's not maybe outwardly expressing it in the same manner or ways that you would, the times that you can see it happen, then it probably is a little bit reassuring, like, okay,
yes,
he is feeling this too. Not that you want somebody to feel the kind of pain that you're feeling, but I feel like people almost don't understand and can't empathize appropriately until they've experienced some things.
Absolutely.
So looking back, you guys have been married now how long?
It'll be 11 years this year.
Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That in itself is an accomplishment, especially getting married that young.
I know.
Like,
I know.
You guys don't even know yourselves at that
Absolutely
age.
not. I'm a completely different person than I was then, and it's insane that we grew in the same direction.
It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful.
Honestly.
So what would you say are you most proud of in your relationship besides that part?
That's like probably what I'm most proud of.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, that's definitely something to be proud of, because things that are meant to tear you apart personally tend to tear you apart in bigger ways. So things like this that could just rip apart your entire mental health from the inside out, typically are designed to tear apart your relationships too, whether they're intimate or familial or friendships.
Yes.
It just drives a wedge in there, right? Because it changes your perspective. It changes how you're able to handle just being in the day-to-day. And so for that to have pushed you guys closer together instead of driving that wedge between, I think that's something great to be proud of.
Thank you.
I think it's beautiful, and congratulations on 11 years.
Thank you.
And especially when 9 of them have been freaking hard.
Freaking hard.
Like, that's big. That's very big. And I think that it's lovely that you have somebody that is willing to support you on every level and participate with you, because you guys have now taken this grief and this journey and turned it into your own podcast, where you can talk about what you've gone through and your feelings, and then maybe have some more conversations together that you didn't realize you weren't having.
Exactly.
And then other people get to build from that too, because there's so many times when we're living in this world and we're going through things where we feel like we're the only person this has ever happened to in this fashion.
Yes.
And there just isn't the right resources out there to, give you a little comfort blanket.
Exactly.
So I think that your podcast is going to be a great success. I think that infertility is something that is way greater spread than is talked about.
Absolutely.
And there's multi levels of it too. While yours is a primary infertility, there's many women that deal with secondary.
Yes.
So I congratulations and thank you for being willing to put your heart out on the line and your life to share with others.
Thank you.
So I would like to get into you leaving a high demand religion. You mentioned this. We don't have to necessarily talk about what religion, only to the comfortability that you
For sure.
are okay with. But I would like to know what feels important for listeners to understand about your experience in being raised in and then making the choice to leave a high demand religion.
For sure. I'm an open book, so yeah.
Me too, I say it all the time.
So I was raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is also known as Mormon. And there was a lot of really beautiful things that came from it. I want to make that clear. Like, they have a lot of beautiful teachings, and it was beautiful to have a community, especially as a teenager. You have like just a group of girls that you are seeing on Sunday, and then you have a weekly activity with them for a couple hours in the week, and you do like a craft or a service project or something like that. So there was a lot of like really beautiful things that came from the community, I would say. And the reason for my leaving was the things that I believed and wanted to be a part of my life were not unique to the Mormon religion.
Okay.
The things that were unique to the Mormon religion, I had a hard time with. So there's like the really beautiful things that I'm talking about that are taught in the community that's there. It was beautiful for me, and I did quite enjoy that aspect. But there were just things with, and I do want to be respectful because
100%.
a lot of my family is still in it, and a lot of friends are still in it as well. And that's, I think, a beautiful thing for them if they find that that brings them joy.
Yeah.
But it did not bring me joy. The things that did bring me joy, like I said, were not unique to the Mormon religion. The things that brought me a lot of anxiety or depression that kind of came along with my infertility journey and growing and learning and building my adult life and finding out who I am as a human, were quite damaging to my foundation.
I can understand that. Having been a participant in a different high demand religion, I agree. The sense of community that comes from that is something that you just don't experience in the world really at all.
No.
If you aren't part of an organization like that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, I guess, if you're like really into organized sports or something of that nature, then maybe you would feel that sense of community. So I agree that the sense of community is something that's really beautiful and something that's very missed once you leave.
Yes.
But the difficulties that are causing you the
Yes.
biggest problems in your life,
They outweigh
you gotta.
staying. Yes.
So was there a specific catalyst that made you decide that this wasn't the way you wanted to live your life anymore, or
That's a really good question.
was it a single thing? Was it a bunch of things? Like what's the turning point?
Yeah, so it was, the turning point was COVID.
Okay.
Okay, so there was, looking back on it, there was little pieces that I kind of added to my shelf. And then during COVID, I found my shelf broke. So the shelf meaning just like the things that were kind of bothering me, I would just kind of put them on the shelf. And then when it broke, that's kind of when I started to realize, wait, I don't want this in my life anymore. This is causing more harm than good. So during COVID, we weren't allowed to meet, right? So everything was online. And I think being physically removed from having to actually like walk into the building and attend all of my classes, I guess.
Yeah.
That being removed from my life, it kind of showed me a different part of the world and a different way of life.
Your structure was gone.
Yeah, and so I wasn't being like inundated with it. that makes sense. So I was able to start like thinking for myself and making choices for me, not based on if it was going to be acceptable within like the Mormon religion.
It kind of gave you a little bit of a buffer zone almost to feel your own way.
Yeah.
Okay, that I think COVID had that impact on a lot of people just kind of looking at life and being like, wait a minute, now that I'm removed from my routine.
Yes, do I want this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now you had a conversation with your husband and you said like, this is where I'm at, where are you at? Because that's a scary conversation to approach because you really don't know what
100%.
his mindset's going to be, and then what does that do for your marriage?
Exactly. And it was it was 2 years after that we actually had a conversation about it. How insane is that?
Holy cow, you just held that in for 2 years?
And we both were feeling the same way.
Oh my God, you could have had 2 extra years of freedom.
I know. So it all kind of started when COVID happened, right? Where I just started questioning and going, I don't have to like go teach in primary. Why am I feeling a little bit more joy in my life? Is this connected? I kind of like not having to be around other people's children all the time and like caring for them.
Yeah.
Is this connected? A bunch of other things as well. And so we just kind of did not address the awkwardness. So when we were allowed to go back to church, and that was like, I guess, allowed in the city, we just then would like sleep in and then just like, oops, we missed it. Neither one of us woke up to our alarm. I guess we're not going to church today.
So you were just like unconsciously both not setting an alarm and pulling the same move?
Yes. Yes. So church started at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. So we would just like, oops, I guess we slept in. I guess we're not going to church. Whoops. Like, that's what we would say to each other.
What do we do with our day now?
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to just go for a walk and enjoy a freaking Sunday. And then it was just like, we didn't talk about it. So we just like would go sometimes, weren't really like invested, but we like just kind of played it off as like external forces not allowing us to go to church. Okay?
I love it.
So we moved from downtown to the suburbs, and with a move like that, you end up changing wards.
Yeah.
So like you would go to a different church building and have different people.
Which
in your
makes it even
congregation.
easier to never go.
So I was like, let's not tell them our address, because then they don't know we're moving. Okay. But didn't say that to my husband, right? So I just was like, maybe we just won't talk about it. No one will like. Usually I'm the one that would give that type of information, so like it just won't happen. He happens to give that information to them. So then like,
oh shit,
our records get moved into the other ward.
And you get a knock on the
And
door.
we get a knock on the door from the missionaries, yes, as I'm like unpacking boxes and just moving in. And that's when I had a conversation with my husband when he came home. I said, okay, I think we need to address this. This is how I'm feeling, and I'm super pissed off that you gave our address to them and it was moved, because I was really hoping we could just
bad.
like, I was hoping we could just like slip under the radar and nobody would know where we are.
Pull the Irish goodbye.
Yeah, that's what I was really hoping for.
And what did he say?
He was like, oh, I'm feeling the same way too. And I was like, well, why did you give our address? This is crazy. And then we
just conditioned to do that.
Yes, exactly. He was like, okay, I was in an awkward conversation. What was I going to say? I'm not giving it to you. And I was like, okay, fair. But that's when I just kind of asked him, like, but where do you stand with it? Because I know where I stand.
Yeah.
But where do you stand with it? And he was just kind of like, I don't know. Like, I just don't really want to go. And he hadn't worked through some of the things that I had worked through.
Okay.
So his main reason was like, it just feels like our life is better and we're just more successful in so many categories in our life when we're not a part of it and we don't go.
That's a big realization.
So that's what he saw, and he was like, that's why I don't want to go. And I was like, okay, like my reasonings are like a little different. They're more like foundational belief focused, like like feminism, like women power, like that's kind of what my focuses are. And so then we just from there kind of started having conversations, and he wasn't really ready for me to bring some of the things to him that I had already deconstructed.
Yeah.
Like so some of the literature or some of the beliefs, like where I was like, this doesn't actually seem like it's legit or real. And he was like, I don't really want to dive into that. Like, I'm content with just not being.
He was okay with
part
just
of it.
walking away without it being a big to-do.
Yeah. Whereas I needed to deconstruct things to almost like solidify my decision and to validate my feelings.
And you said he's the youngest of 5?
Youngest of 5. So he's like, I just have to walk away.
Yeah. Everything's been done for him.
Yeah.
He just has
I'm
to
like,
follow
I have to
the leader.
diagnose. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to diagnose
we
and
can
solve.
Figure this out.
Okay. So had you thought before you addressed it with him? Had you thought about like what if his response is different than what you were hoping for?
Yeah, I was worried.
Yeah.
I was worried for that.
Because that would be scary to me.
I think I had a little inkling though, because he wasn't motivated and he wasn't going, we gotta go to church.
Yeah.
We gotta do these things.
His behavior was kind of already showing where he was at.
He was just he seemed removed from it. So I think I had a little inkling, which probably made it a little bit easier for me to have the conversation subconsciously. But I was worried that he was gonna say, well, I still want to be a part of it.
Well, because I know when I left the religion that I was in, that you get removed from the community. You're essentially shunned. You can't be talked to.
That's so sad.
You are a black sheep.
Yeah.
Like my ex-husband's sister used to hide in the bathroom when I would go pick up my kids. She wouldn't let me see her face.
That's so sad.
But I mean, some people take things to an extreme too.
Yeah.
So, is that a thing in the Mormon religion?
I feel like it's the opposite. So
Oh.
I feel like
they're
it's more
shining back.
like, come back to us. Yeah.
I think that with Jehovah's Witnesses, it's there's a come back to us to a certain extent, and it depends on why you've left. For me, I didn't really address leaving. I just stopped going and started putting up a Christmas tree.
Yeah, I love that for you.
And then now when they knock on my door, I just tell them they can't talk to me because I'm disfellowshipped. I didn't show up to the meeting.
That's like a really easy way to get out of the conversation.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like it is an easy way to get out of it because you're just removed. Nobody's allowed to talk to you. They're in trouble if they do. You're not. If you want to go to church, you have to come late basically and sit in the back row and not talk to anybody and then leave.
Interesting.
You can't participate in things like they go door to door obviously as well. You cannot do that when you're disfellowshipped.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's a lot of restriction on that. But
so with I guess what I know, I've just said I'm not going anymore. So I haven't formally removed my records.
Okay.
Which is something that you can do.
I saw that on Secret Life of Mormon Wives. Or no, maybe it was the Salt Lake City Housewives.
Yeah, one of them.
I think it was Whitney on Salt Lake City Housewives writing her letter to have her records removed.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it's a big process to have your records removed, and typically, like, if your family, like, don't quote me, okay, but like if a family member is involved, so like if a parent, like your dad or something like that, is in like a higher up position in the church, then he would get notification of you removing your records.
Oh, okay.
Which can cause a lot of grief in families.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
For me and my husband, we're just okay with that being our decision. And I very much have the view of, if I like make this big deal to like have my records removed, which it is quite a big deal, it's showing that like Mormonism is still taking over my life, and I don't have the agency to choose for myself.
Ooh, I like that view.
That's how I feel about it.
I would have never looked at it like that, but that's actually a really great perspective.
Yeah. And so to me, I think it would, for my own like well-being, it would do more damage if I went down that rabbit hole and tried to remove my records.
And then that would at that point draw a wedge between your family and you at that point, would it not? Is there any point where your leaving would affect your relationship with family?
Yes, it has already.
Oh, it has, okay.
Yes. My parents are not happy about it, but they're not, like, I still see them on a regular basis.
Oh, so you still have, that's good.
Yes, there's just like, in the beginning there was just this like awkwardness, and my dad's he'll just say how he's feeling. So we had conversations about it, which were not productive conversations because I was still in my angry phase and didn't have the appropriate verbiage to.
Well, and he just
articulate
wants
it.
you to revert back to what you were before
Yes.
and follow his
Because
lead.
again, there's a lot of fear put into it, right?
Yeah.
You leave, you've been taken over by the devil, and
Yeah.
like you can't think for yourself, and you don't know what true joy is. And that's a really, really, really sad thing for me to know that that's what my family members are thinking of me.
Do you think that now that you have been gone for, so we're a few years into this, and they've obviously seen how you're conducting yourself and your
Yeah.
life, and do you think that that fear is a little less now? That they see that although you've left the church and you're not participating actively with the religion, that you're still conducting yourself in, you know, a kind and caring
Yeah.
manner, and you're not, you know,
Yeah.
going off on a wild tangent and committing
No,
murders or something.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
you haven't come across.
I'm just enjoying a coffee every now and then and a glass of wine. Like that's the extent of my rebellion. Like
Okay.
yes.
I had chocolate, okay?
Yeah. Oh no. I hope so. I don't know. Because being in it, I know I was on that side before where I knew it was, we just felt sad for the people who left. They don't know what true joy is. They're being like, they're just having an inaccurate view of what secular joy is.
Yeah.
And that's sad for me to know that that's kind of what's being thought and taught, right?
Yeah.
Like they're going for their Sunday lessons and hearing this in either a talk or in the Sunday school that they're participating in, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it really difficult, is knowing that. I don't know if my parents have a different view. I hope they do. I hope that they see that I'm happy and that I am actually finding myself now, and it's a really, really beautiful journey.
Yeah.
And I'm a better human now. I'm actually me and not just this like robot
that was created.
expected. Yes. But I don't know if they do.
And that's a difficult position to be in, is the not knowing and always wondering.
And I can't force them
No,
to see that.
no, you can't. They have to do things on their timeline, and all you could do is continue to conduct yourself in a
Yes.
manner that suits you and still stays true to who you want to be now moving
Yes.
forward, but hopefully doesn't disappoint them too much.
Yes. And like my relationship with them isn't terrible. I would say it's just different.
Yeah,
than
which
it
is
was
expected.
before. But it's not like I saw them yesterday for dinner, right? So like they're like, I see them on a regular basis. It's not that I don't feel comfortable in their home or
Welcome.
being around them or things like that.
And what about with your, is it the same with your siblings, kind of?
Yeah, siblings are fine. One of my sisters is not a part of it.
Oh, that's
either.
nice. So you
there's,
have...
yeah, there's that understanding. My other sister is very like, do what you want, I don't care. Like, I just support you and whatever. She's amazing. And then my brother, he's actually 15 years younger than me.
Holy smokes!
Yeah, so he just graduated high school. He's our relationship is fantastic. Like, it's insane that we even have a relationship based on that age gap. I've
Yeah.
been a part of his life and like have made an effort to be there, and it's a really beautiful thing.
And now you get just to be a cool older sister.
I'm just the cool older sister.
You know,
Yeah.
a sounding board for teenage questions.
Yes. Right? It's fun to know that he still wants to hang out with me. Like, he'll
Yeah.
message me sometimes and just be like, hey, can I come over? And I'm
Aww.
like, yes, that's the cutest thing.
Well, I'm so glad that that decision to leave didn't completely uproot every aspect of your life and just leave you left alone.
Absolutely.
And also, I mean, your parents have to also be happy and thankful too that that choice didn't draw the wedge between you and your husband and cause a divorce. Because could you imagine what that would have looked like?
Absolutely.
Like, that's, and there's high probability for that when you're enduring that kind of high stress situations and putting that into your relationship.
Absolutely.
Like, a lot of people don't sustain.
No, I feel like my husband and I are just so freaking lucky in so many aspects of our marriage. Because I look around at others who were married kind of around the same time I was.
Yeah.
And it's just so beautiful knowing that we've been on the same page for our entire marriage. And like just have kind of dealt with things differently, which is to be had. Like,
Yeah.
we're different humans.
Well, and the male,
And the
female
male,
aspect of
totally.
it.
And youngest son, oldest daughter aspect. Like,
Huge
oh my gosh.
difference.
Crazy.
Huge difference.
Yes. But it's incredible to me that we chose each other at such a young age.
And you're still.
And yes, like, that we just kind of knew that we would be so good together. That,
Yeah.
like, making that decision at such a young age, how do you even have that ability? I don't know. I'm proud of myself.
I mean, your brain isn't even fully developed.
Absolutely not.
So.
No, and here I am choosing someone to marry? Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think marriage in general is just such a bizarre concept. Like, how do you look like somebody I want to be with for the rest of my life.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's a crazy notion. I wouldn't change it at all. I love my husband so much. He's my best friend. But it is a crazy notion. And then to even think about being so young and in such a formidable time of life and be making those decisions.
Yes.
And then endure everything that you had to endure since.
Yes.
And still be standing on 2 feet holding hands.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm quite proud of us.
I am proud of you too. Do you feel like leaving felt more like freedom or grief? Or both?
Oh, both.
Both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
It was not the easier decision to leave. The easier decision was to stay.
Totally.
Absolutely.
There's no change in staying.
There's no change in staying. You don't have to worry about having an awkward conversation with your family and not knowing what their opinions are going to be and how they're going to react.
Yeah.
Same with like that conversation I had with my husband. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Right?
Like that's scary. I can only imagine the anxiety bubbling up inside of you approaching that conversation.
Yes. And just like with the with the Mormon religion, you wear what are called garments, which are like special underwear, which are, it's insane being out of it for so long and thinking back to it, where I'm just like, how did that seem?
This top wouldn't be allowed.
This top now would be allowed because they changed
really?
them for the women. So like this top, you could.
So that's Jehovah's Witnesses changed it too. Women can wear pants now.
Oh
which
my
I
gosh.
see pictures and I'm like, what?
It's crazy. So there was a moment like when they changed, like they just recently changed. There is like now a special garment that you can buy that could accommodate this, but the other ones still exist.
What is that other, like, what is the, it's a
T-shirt.
t-shirt?
Yeah.
Okay. And like granny panties?
And then like to your knee.
Oh, shut the front door.
No kidding.
You're wearing long biker shorts under everything?
Yes.
That sounds terribly hot and uncomfortable.
Terribly hot and uncomfortable. Very accurate.
Terribly hot and uncomfortable.
And so there's this thing when you leave that then you have this freedom to just go shopping. And you can put a tank top on. But then there's guilt that comes with wearing that tank top because you know everyone around you who's in the Mormon religion is garment checking.
Oh my goodness.
And so they know without you telling them.
Yeah.
So there's just that
And that's
aspect.
like uncomfortable. Like that's uncomfortable because you just can feel it.
Yeah, but then like why are we checking what people are wearing for underwear?
100%. That's
Right?
super strange.
That's a weird thing.
It is super strange.
But it, like in the beginning I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna wear this tank top or my in-laws, they're gonna know. Like, it's weird. I'm gonna wear shorts that are much shorter than my knee.
Oh, and then
They're gonna
bathing
know.
suit season?
Yes. So like bathing suits, you can wear bathing suits. Typically it's not like they don't love it if you wear a bikini, but I always did as a teenager. But like
You rebellious girl.
yes,
you.
that was my rebellion with it.
So when a belief system's shaped your entire worldview
Mhm.
and every aspect of your life, how do you begin rebuilding from scratch then?
That's a really good question. It took a lot of podcasts and listening to podcasts. I listened to actually quite a few ex-Mormon podcasts of
Okay.
people who had left to just try and get like a idea of what leaving looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how do you even picture that?
How do you picture that, right? And so it was very simple things like buying tank tops and wearing tank tops and finding out, oh my goodness, a tank top and a pair of jeans is literally the perfect outfit. I have been missing out all these years. Throw a little cardigan over top of that, like excellent. You're a little warm, you take the cardigan off. I never had that luxury. Like it was a t-shirt underneath, right? It's very, very little things that don't seem like big things.
Yeah.
Right? Where you just like, you find your life being like kind of reshaped by those like day-to-day things like wearing a tank top or having a cup of coffee or trying wine for the first time or any type of alcohol.
Yeah, like what was the first thing that you rebelliously did?
Yeah.
Probably the garments would be the first thing to go.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. First thing was not wearing the garments. Absolutely. Like, so still being in it kinda, but not wearing garments, only wearing them sometimes.
Yeah.
And then just slowly phasing those out. That was like probably the hardest thing to detach from.
Do you wear them from a like
just,
like when do you start?
So
like puberty kind of?
typically once you go through the temple. So you
okay.
take out your endowments is what it's called, and then you are to be wearing these.
So you've been wearing them for years.
So since I was married. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So for typically you go through the temple when you go on a mission or you're getting married. Those are typically the two times you would go through.
It's baffling to me that like there's no sex before marriage, no living together before marriage, any of all that, right? But it's baffling to me that they wait until you're married to make you put on those garments.
Yeah.
Now that you're allowed to do those things.
That's a very good point.
By the law of the church.
Yeah.
Let's cover you up more and make it harder for your husband to help you make babies.
Yes, and like very not attractive.
Yeah, like you're not setting the mood in anything.
Absolutely not.
That's baffling to me. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a heavy thing to come out of and try and move forward in life with just really throwing away everything you've ever known.
Yes. So it was a lot of just like figuring out what we had like our foundational beliefs, what we liked from them, and what we, I guess, felt that we wanted them to be a part of our life, right?
Yeah.
And then what we didn't, and then kind of eliminating those, and then just thinking, well, we have room to move things in. So what do we want to add to our
So you're kind of
beliefs?
creating your own commandments almost.
Yeah, just like how we want our life to live and what our opinions are on certain things that maybe we weren't allowed to have an opinion on before we felt.
Is it easier for you now to share your opinion about things now that you've making the choice, taken the steps, and you're living this authentic version of yourself?
Do you know what I would say? It's easier for me to accept other people's opinions.
Ooh.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
But not give your own?
We'll just accept them now. Whereas like before when I was in the Mormon religion,
If it didn't fit
in the beliefs that I was told were correct, then I would be like, why? Why did they think that way? Why?
Okay.
And have kind of like, they could be a bad person because they don't think this way, or like that's kind of an extreme example. But
so almost like more open that it's okay for other people to have different views on things.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to fit my view to be okay.
Yes. So I'm okay with sharing my opinions on things, but I think I'm actually more reserved on it because I'm like, if it doesn't fit the conversation, it doesn't fit the conversation.
I should learn how to do that.
I'm more accepting of other people's opinions.
Yeah, I know that like being in the religion, that it's really, you don't accept outside
it's hard to
words.
Yeah.
It's just super frowned upon. It's embedded into you to not take worldly views.
Yes.
So now we've come out of the religion, we're standing on a little steadier ground. We're in this fertility journey and kind of accepted that we're living in this moment and we can't control what's going to happen. So what dreams have emerged that you never imagined would have maybe come out years ago before you took these steps and made these changes into living your true authentic life?
I think one of the biggest ones is I've been able to give myself permission to find out who I am and what that looks like outside of infertility, religion, all of that.
Yeah.
And travel is a really big one for that. Just experiencing other cultures, experiencing how other parts of the world just live life and do things. And that's a really huge one for me. And so we do a lot of travel now. And that I didn't know that was a big dream of mine until really a few years ago. I didn't really think it was possible to do that. And so that my husband and I kind of are diving into, of just like something that we didn't think that was really possible for us to just take the time to go and experience something that maybe doesn't necessarily have like a good ROI, but it does for our souls, like really.
Where's your favorite place that you've gone to then, since you've decided?
Yeah.
The travel bug is where it's at.
The travel bug is where it's at. So I would, the last place we went to was Croatia, and it was incredible. It was incredible.
I wanted to go there for my honeymoon.
Yes.
We've been married 8 years
You
and
need
haven't
to
had
go.
one.
You need to go.
We want to do Greece, Croatia, and Italy, a week in each.
Yes, absolutely. That sounds perfect.
One day.
Yes.
One day.
You have to. That's incredible.
That's great. I mean, you know, if you're not stuck here in a role that you anticipated being stuck here in, why not? Why not take and move and do the things and experience the places and the people and the things and do that? Why not? You have the
Yes.
ability to.
Because I think what I should articulate too is like what travel brings is this sense of freedom,
Yes.
where I'm just experiencing things that I wouldn't living here at home. But then also I haven't seen that in an adult couple. Like growing up, I didn't see that, where a couple would just like do things to like improve their relationship and whatever that might look like. Take the time to go and explore another area of the world. Maybe that's something that's important to them.
Because having it together is a myth, and nobody actually knows what they're doing.
Okay, I have kind of a dual-ended question because it kind of hits the hard and the good.
Okay.
So, you want to start hard or good?
You choose. It
Okay.
doesn't matter.
So, what does healing look like for you today?
So healing looks like taking time for myself. I'm actually in a big healing moment right now. I just left my job, and that job I've been at for 13 years.
Oh,
So
wow.
like left the industry, and I'm kind of going on a new venture.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. It's a little scary, but realizing that was taking a lot from me as well. And so this is kind of, I feel like everything comes in threes. And so this is like the third thing for me to kind of work through, and I think is a catalyst for really discovering who I am and building a life that I'm going to be proud of and enjoy. And so taking that time for me and just like focusing on the things that bring me joy, and why can't I think of these words? Like they're like in there, and there's just so much that wants to come out. But just like taking the time for me and discovering who I am, I think is a huge part of the healing process, because I haven't been able to do that for my entire life, is what it feels like.
No,
And
you
so-
put a lot of effort into everybody around
Yes.
you.
Or just like
And the
other
community,
things.
yeah.
Where there's been no real time for me and effort towards who I am. And so in my 30s, I'm learning who I am, which is insane. I feel like I should have been doing this in my 20s, is what it feels like.
We all think that's what
Yeah,
we're gonna do.
maybe,
It
maybe,
never
maybe.
really happens then.
Maybe. So there's just been a lot of self-discovery for me and reflection that has been very helpful for the healing process.
That's good. So it's time to be a little bit selfish and put some
Yes.
time into you.
Yes.
Well, my second half of that question was what does joy mean to you now?
Okay. So joy means like truly like romanticizing the little things in life. That's when I find that I experience the most joy. So it can be just as simple as like sitting in my backyard drinking some coffee, and I'm just like staring at my garden, like this is the most beautiful place. I love this. It's really just focusing on those little things that I didn't make time for in the previous years, and that I feel like I kind of missed out on enjoying.
I think I just had this conversation with my husband that like it doesn't always have to be these big grand gestures of romance and big things.
No.
Like sometimes it's just the little things that are the most impactful.
Yeah.
Like spend a day with me just sitting.
Yes.
Like hold my hand for no reason.
Absolutely.
You know, like sometimes it's just the little things that you have to learn how to appreciate, because when you get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of adulting,
Yeah.
You forget to just appreciate
Yes.
the little things.
Absolutely.
I like that. Okay, I'm gonna do rapid fire questions
Okay.
before we close it out.
Okay.
Coffee or tea?
I would say coffee.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Introvert or extrovert?
Oh, introvert.
Something that makes you laugh every single time.
Ooh. I would say my French bulldog sleeping positions.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's a good one.
Every time.
Now I'm picturing it. Now I'm picturing it. What about a book, podcast, or a resource that changed your perspective and helped you on your journey?
The Jay Shetty On Purpose podcast.
Oh, I love that podcast.
Incredible. That's, I think, the one that I started listening to at the beginning of my like infertility journey, when things were just feeling really tough and I just was feeling like I needed some like hope almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got such a calming tone to his voice too. Like it just stays soothing, and
He's
his eyes.
incredible. I know, right?
You can't not look at him.
And like just such incredible insight
Yes.
in so many different aspects of life that he offers with the interviews that he does.
I know, and there really is not an aspect of life that he doesn't touch on at some point in an interview.
It's incredible.
That's awesome. I love that. I agree with that. One thing you are grateful for today?
I think my strength, and not in a conceited way at all, but I'm looking back on the things that I have kind of dealt with and persevered through. I'm really proud of how I've been able to move through them and be here and have the level-headedness that I do regarding all of these really awful things that have happened.
Yeah.
And just being able to be a compassionate human through it.
It's really easy to let the hard things turn you hard.
Yes, yes. I feel like that's the easiest way to experience it.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, it's easier to just be angry about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a defense mechanism that a lot of people have instead of working through it and feeling it and riding that wave of emotion and getting through it and back down. They just let it turn them hard.
Mm-hmm.
But what does Taylor says? Breathe in, breathe deep, breathe through, breathe out.
Oh, which one is this from? You're very good at lyrics.
Ivy?
Oh
Maybe?
yeah, I think
Is it
you're
Ivy?
right. Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think of that all the time.
Absolutely.
All right. So if someone listening is grieving a version of their life that they thought they would have, what would you want them to know?
I would want them to know that there's a lot of advice that I'm sure they're hearing from people, and I think it's very important that they turn inward and get to know who they are and know that it's okay to enjoy those little small moments that happen throughout their days, while still very much grieving their sad and grieving their hard that they're going through. That it's okay if they enjoy a moment or two throughout the day, and it's really important that they do and they can see those things, and know that it's not overshadowing the grief that they're experiencing. It's just going hand in hand with it.
Yeah, I like that, and I agree. And I think that just because you're grieving something or someone or anything doesn't mean that you don't have the right to smile still.
Yes.
You don't have the right to have some excitement and some happiness in your life. You can hold place and space for both things.
Yes, absolutely.
I like that. I think that's a great place to close it out. One thing that I typically ask is if you want to share any of your social medias or anything with anybody. But if you do want to share, I know that you have your podcast that you're just starting. So if you want to share that, you can go ahead and share it, and then I'll link it in the video when we air.
Yes. So please follow Holland here in the and. It is very heavily focused on infertility. But our goal too is to open it up to any aspect of grief that you're experiencing, because we've all experienced something that's really hard, and then trying to find the joy can be like so difficult. And so our foundation that Here in the End is built on is from our infertility journey, because that's kind of the catalyst that started it. But it's open to anybody, not just to people who are experiencing infertility or anything along those lines. So the first few episodes that we have on our podcast are very focused on infertility and our journey, but our goal is to kind of shift that into other aspects of life and other ways to experience grief and joy at the same time.
I love that. Perfect. And we will link Kaitlyn's podcast in the comments for you guys to all be able to check it out. But we are going to close it out there. So I want to thank Kaitlyn for coming and sharing her story with us. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being so vulnerable with your life. I know that it's not always easy to dig deep and share the parts from the darkest parts of our soul. So I do really appreciate it. And thank you everybody for joining in, and we will see you next week.